So what's the real secret behind building a billion-dollar company? We're always told these stories about genius founders and super complex strategies that, let's be honest, feel totally out of reach for most of us. But what if the truth is way, way simpler? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the core principles they actually use, and you might be surprised to find it's all about mastering the basics.
I mean, this is it, right? This is the starting point for almost everyone. We see this mind-boggling success, the crazy innovation, and all that wealth, and we just assume the person behind it all is playing 4D chess while the rest of us are, well, playing checkers. It's a really intimidating myth, and honestly, it's what holds a lot of people back. And boom, there's the twist. The one single idea that just cuts through all of that noise. They're not geniuses. So, okay, if that's the myth, then what's the reality? Let's break that down.
All right, so first up, the genius myth. We've got to deconstruct this whole billionaire persona, because to really get what makes them successful, you first have to unlearn what everyone thinks makes them successful.
And here it is. This is the real secret. It's not about inventing something impossibly complex. It's about a fanatical, relentless obsession with the basics. Seriously, think of a world-class athlete who practices the exact same simple drill for hours and hours. They aren't just good at the fundamentals. They have mastered them to a level most people don't even think about.
But look, this obsession isn't just some weird personality quirk. It's actually a repeatable system. It's like a simple engine that just churns out great ideas. So let's take a look at how that engine actually works. This is such a powerful loop. See, it doesn't start with some random brainstorming session. No, it starts with mastering the fundamentals. Once you know your industry, your customers, and your own operations inside and out, you just naturally start asking better, sharper questions. And that is where the real breakthrough ideas come from. It's a simple, direct, and incredibly effective process.
Oh man, a huge part of mastering the fundamentals is demanding absolute clarity. And this slide just shows that contrast perfectly. On one side, you have that meaningless corporate jargon that just makes everything confusing. And on the other, the simple, powerful truth. If you can't explain it simply, you don't really understand it. End of story.
They also rely on something that sounds super simple but is actually incredibly rare: common sense. And this isn't just a gut feeling. It's an active, practical filter. They'll listen to the experts, sure, but they never, ever take that advice as gospel. Instead, every single expert opinion gets stress-tested against one simple question. Okay, that's a nice theory, but does it actually work for my business right here, right now?
So this way of thinking leads us to the very core of their decision-making process. We're going to call it the billionaires filter. It's basically a series of simple, brutally effective questions that every single idea has to survive before it gets anywhere close to being implemented.
It always starts here. Always. Before any discussion about features or strategy or anything else, this is the question that grounds everyone. It instantly silences all the internal politics and personal opinions, and it focuses the entire room on the only person who actually matters: the customer. Because, without them, nothing else exists.
And from there, the filter gets a little more specific. This isn't about the features you think are cool. It's about getting deep into the customer's motivation. You have to be able to clearly articulate the real driving reason why they would pull out their wallet for this. Are you selling them efficiency, status, peace of mind? If you don't know the answer, you're just guessing.
And this is the final customer test. What is the tangible, real-world benefit? This question forces you to get past vague promises. It demands that you define the actual value. It's not enough to be innovative. Your idea has to actually help them. It has to solve a real problem or fulfill a deep need.
So let's say an idea passes this whole customer test, which is a huge deal. It's still not approved, not even close. Now it has to face an internal filter. 2 more questions to figure out if it actually makes sense for the business itself.
This is the practicality check. Look, a brilliant idea that requires you to completely rebuild your entire operation from the ground up is, well, it's rarely that brilliant. This question is designed to weed out all those shiny objects that sound great in a meeting but would be an absolute nightmare to actually put into practice. Operational simplicity is valued just as much as a great idea.
And here it is, the final hurdle. This question connects everything back to the bottom line. It demands a clear, undeniable link between this new idea and the creation of tangible value. If you can't draw a straight line from the idea to how it benefits both the customer and the business, the idea dies. It's really that simple.
Okay, so we've busted the myth, we've walked through the filter. Now for the most important part. How can you actually use this? Let's turn all these insights into a simple, actionable playbook.
It really just boils down to these 4 rules. Stop chasing every shiny new idea that comes along and instead get obsessed with the fundamentals of what you already do. Demand simple, clear answers from your team and from yourself. And maybe most importantly, make customer value the absolute North Star for every single decision you make. Look, this isn't complex, but it definitely requires discipline.
This right here is the philosophy that ties everything together. Success is not a knowledge-hoarding contest. It's not about knowing more than everyone else in the room. It's about having the clarity and the discipline to ask the right questions, the simple questions that cut through all the noise and get you straight to the heart of what really matters.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a challenge. Forget trying to do everything at once. Based on everything we've just covered, what is the one, basic, the single most important fundamental in your work that you will commit to mastering starting today?